Welcome to Smart Machine, the show engineered for executive leaders like you. We cut through technical jargon to deliver essential strategic insight to businesses. Data isn't a byproduct anymore, is it? It's really the bedrock of competitive advantage, and more crucially, a sustained revenue growth depends on it. But the big question is, how do you, as a CEO or a C-suite executive, truly unlock the immense often hidden value that's sitting right there in your structured or unstructured data? We are going to talk about this, but maybe not in the way you are used to. Forget the complex tech for a moment. Think of it as a leadership tool, a way to move from gut feeling to truly data-driven strategy. So as a leader, you are making big calls every single day, but are those decisions truly driving growth, or are we just guessing? How many of those calls are backed by cold, hard data? In today's world, the quality of your decision is your competitive edge. So the real question is your data pulling its weight in your decision? And that's exactly why understanding AI, machine learning, and deep learning isn't just for your tech team anymore. It's a strategic imperative for you. It's all about knowing what's possible and what you can ask for. Now, our focus today is purely on the business application. If you want to dive deeper into the nuts and bolts and foundational concepts, we have got great resources specifically for executives over on our website and YouTube channel. But for now, let's talk strategy. So here is our game plan for today. First, we'll get a quick high-level view of concepts for leaders. Then we are going to dive into two incredibly powerful practical tools. First, decision systems, and then regression models. For each one, we will break down what it is, and then we will see it in action with some real-world case studies. And we will wrap up by talking about your next strategic move. AI, machine learning, and deep learning for business leaders at its core, this is all about one thing, and that's connecting your data to real business outcomes. It's about learning to ask the right questions and knowing which tools are going to give you the answers you need to actually drive your strategy and your growth. Okay, let's get into our first tool. This one is all about getting crystal clear, definitive answers. Let's talk about decision systems. The easiest way to think about it is like a super-powered flowchart. It digs through all your business data, learns the patterns, and then helps you answer those critical yes or no questions. Questions like, is this high-value customer about to leave us? Or is this new sales lead actually going to convert? It gives you a straight answer so you can act with real confidence. But theory is one thing, and seeing it work, that's something else. So let's look at how this plays out in the real world. Here is a problem I'm sure a lot of you can relate to. A major bank was losing its high-value credit card customers. They were just walking out the door, and the bank had no idea why. This is not just a small problem when you are running a large corporations. It was causing a significant hit to their revenue. So they brought in a decision system. And what it found was absolutely crucial. It wasn't just one thing that made a customer leave. It was a specific cocktail of behaviors. Things like their total transaction count dropping, the total amount they spent going down, and especially a couple of months of inactivity. These weren't just quiet customers. The model showed they were practically packing their bags in advance. And these pieces of information became the bank's new early warning signals. It was a total game changer. The bank went from being reactive and doing damage control to being proactive. Instead of finding out a customer left when they called to cancel, they could now see it coming weeks, even months in advance. This allowed them to step in with targeted retention strategy. And we are talking about protecting a major revenue stream. That's the difference between guessing and knowing. Let's look at a different scenario, the case of a fast-growing startup. They had thousands of leads coming in, which sounds like a great thing, right? But their sales team was completely swamped. They were chasing every single lead, wasting so much time and energy on people who were never ever going to buy. So the model dug in and basically built a profile of their perfect customers. It found some fascinating things. For example, leads who spent around 30 minutes on their website were the ones that were seriously interested. It also confirmed that working professionals converted at a much higher rate than other groups. And maybe most importantly, any recent activity like clicking on an email, visiting the website was a massive buying signal. This handed the sales team a data-driven playbook. They could instantly see the score of every single lead, focusing all their firepower on the ones most likely to close. The outcome was a huge boost to their conversion rate, which directly accelerated the company's growth and revenue. So decision systems are fantastic for those yes or no questions. But what about when you need a number, a specific value or a quantity? For that, we turn to our second tool, regression models. This is a tool you use when you need to put a number on your most critical business metric. And being able to predict those numbers, that can totally transform your operations and your strategy. Okay, let's see how. So our first example is a hospital. They were dealing with a huge operational headache that was costing them money and frustrating patients. They just couldn't predict how long a patient would need to stay at hospital. This created chaos. They didn't have enough beds, scheduling nightmare for their staff. It was hurting both patient care and the bottom line. So they used a regression model. It crunched the data from thousands of patient records and pinpointed the key things that predicted their length of stay. And in fact, the model showed that it wasn't just one factor. It was a mix of the patient's age, how severe their illness was, and especially which department they were admitted to. This allowed them to go from a vague hospital-wide average to a super precise prediction for each individual patient. And the outcome was transformational because from the moment the patient was admitted to the hospital had a really reliable forecast for their stay. And this let them optimize everything, scheduling staff, ordering supplies, managing bed allocations. The end result was a huge leap in efficiency, lower cost, and a much better standard of care for their patients. Okay, let's switch gears one last time to retail. A huge retailer had a really fundamental question. What actually drives our sales? Is it the price point? Is it the location? Is it the store layout? They knew they needed to get past their assumptions and get some real data-driven answer. So the regression model went to work through mountains of sales data, and it came back with a very clear picture. Sure, price point mattered, but the model proved that the type of store was an even bigger driver of sales. And it turned out one specific store format they had was a massive outperformer. They had accidentally stumbled on a winning formula, and now the data was showing them exactly what it was. This gave them a clear, actionable roadmap. They can now be much smarter about stocking, for example, their high margin items in those specific store types where they knew they would sell and make more margins. They now had a data-backed plan for how to improve their underperforming stores as well. It's all about making those precise surgical decisions that directly boost the bottom line. So we have looked at two powerful tools: decision systems for clarity for those yes or no questions, and regression models for forecasting, for predicting those key numbers. And you saw that these are not fancy tech projects. They are fundamental tools for strategic business leadership. So I guess the question I have for you is this: what critical questions in your organizations are you still answering with a gut feeling? Are you ready to turn all the data you're sitting on into your biggest competitive advantage? If you're ready and you want to explore how these tools could tackle your unique business challenges, then this conversation definitely doesn't have to end here. Please feel free to connect with me directly on LinkedIn or head over to our website, globaldataandbi.com. We have got a lot more resources there specifically for leaders like you. And of course, if you want to talk about strategy assessment or a specific project implementation, just send us an email. Our door is always open. See you in the next episode.